CARICOM has mobilized support to Guyana in the aftermath of the deadly Dome fire, an outpouring of sympathy as Guyana mourns the death of 19 children. And climate change represents the greatest challenge for CARICOM, Secretary General Barnett says. Welcome to this week's episode of the CARICOM NewsTime. With the details, I am Tusankin English Francis. CARICOM heads of government have mobilized human and other resources to support Guyana following the fire in the school dormitory in Madia, which claimed the lives of 19 children. A statement by the Conference of Heads of Government issued on May 24th reads,
CARICOM heads of government have noted the horrific reports of the deaths of 19 young people in a fire in a school dormitory in Madia, Guyana. We extend our heartfelt condolences to all who have been affected, both directly and indirectly, by this horrific event. Our thoughts and prayers are with the Madia community and all of Guyana as you mourn the deaths of beloved relatives and friends. We also pray for the recovery of those children who are now under medical care. We applaud the bravery of personnel from the Guyanese fire, police, and medical teams, as well as public-spirited Guyanese who responded and helped to save lives. The Conference of Heads of Government stands in solidarity with the government and people of Guyana, and member states have mobilized human and other resources to support the recovery process. We stand ready to offer additional support as needed.
As grief continues to grip Guyana in the aftermath of the deadly Dome fire in the mining town of Madia, there has been an outpouring of sympathy from all over the world. CARICOM Secretary General Dr. Barnett joined the CARICOM Chair, the Honorable Philip Davis of the Bahamas, and other CARICOM heads of government in extending sincere condolences to Guyana. At a meeting of the Community Council on May 24th, Dr. Barnett spoke of the tragedy.
But I want to begin by expressing deep condolences to the government and people of Guyana as they continue to mourn the loss of 19 young lives in the horrific fire at the high school in the community of Madia. Our flags are flying at half-mast in solidarity.
In a show of solidarity, the CARICOM flag was flown at half-staff at the Secretariat in Georgetown, Guyana, after Guyana's President, Dr. Irfan Ali, declared 3 days of national mourning. In a national vigil on May 23rd in Georgetown, the President joined survivors, the victims' relatives, friends, and the communities, government officials, and members of the diplomatic corps, as well as scores of Guyanese in collective grief of the greatest tragedy by fire the country has seen in recent times.
The events of last Monday have shaken our nation to the core. Our hearts are pieced. Our sorrow is indescribable. Our pain crushing. I stand before you as your leader, saddened as never before, but sharing in our collective grief, and summoning all Guyanese to join hands and hearts in overcoming this unutterable tragedy.
School children joined in mourning the loss of their peers, forming human hearts and letters symbolizing Madia Secondary School. Cardboards and chalkboards traditionally used for teaching and teaching aids were exchanged for messages of condolences. The flag-raising ceremony, which was planned to mark Guyana's 57th independence anniversary on May 26th, was dedicated to prayer and remembrance of the children who died. CARICOM Secretary General Dr. Barnett says the impact of climate change is one of the greatest challenges for CARICOM as it moves into the next 50 years of its existence. Speaking at the 51st meeting of the Community Council of Ministers on May 24th in Georgetown, Guyana, Dr. Barnett said over the past 50 years, CARICOM has dealt with economic, social, and environmental challenges with focused and intellectual leadership.
During our first 50 years, the community has had to grapple with a host of economic, social, and environmental issues at the national, regional, and global levels. We have done so with a degree of focus and intellectual leadership that has gained our community a level of respect that belies our small size. We have done reasonably well. I like to call it a good net positive on our journey so far. And as we move into the next 50 years, it will take an even greater effort to face the challenges that lie ahead. The greatest of these challenges is, of course, the impact of climate change on our nations.
The second highest organ met at the CARICOM Secretariat to prepare for the 45th meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government, which coincides with CARICOM's 50th anniversary celebrations, slated for Trinidad and Tobago from the 3rd to the 6th of July. The Council received a report on the activities for the milestone anniversary celebrations and the operations of the CARICOM Secretariat. Social justice was in focus when CARICOM labor ministers met in Georgetown, Guyana on May 23rd for the 12th meeting of Caribbean Ministers of Labor. They agreed that social justice required greater multilateral and regional cooperation to advance sustainable growth in the region. Several high-level officials addressed the forum, including President of Guyana, His Excellency Irfan Ali, who questioned whether social justice is a priority on the global agenda.
But if social justice is a global concept, then there should be global responsibilities. Social justice cannot be an event, or it cannot be targets. And that is what we have allowed social justice to be, a set of measurable targets that we aim to achieve. Social justice must be a culture through which society are built, through which nations are built, through which policies are built.
In her address to the forum, CARICOM Assistant Secretary General for the Directorate of Human and Social Development, Alison Drayton, noted that social justice lies at the very foundation of Caribbean transformation.
When we refer to social justice, we refer to the distribution of wealth, opportunities, and privileges within a society. We refer to the view that everyone deserves equal economic, political, and social rights. It is significant that social justice is not at the pinnacle of sustainable Caribbean transformation. Rather, it lies at the foundation. The foundation of any structure is indeed the most important place on which growth and expansion occurs.
The need for greater climate action and financing for sustainable development in small states like those of CARICOM was taken to the meeting of G7 on May 21st in Hiroshima, Japan by the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres.
The global financial architecture is outdated, dysfunctional, and unfair. In the face of the economic shocks from the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russian invasion of Ukraine, it has failed to fulfill its core function as a global safety net. It's time to reform both the Security Council and the Bretton Woods institutions. And this is essentially a question of redistributing power in line with the realities of today's world. Even with the present unfair global rules, more can and must be done to support developing countries. We have proposed an SDG stimulus that would provide an effective mechanism for debt relief and scale up long-term and contingency financing. If multilateral development banks work together and change their business models and approach to risk, they could massively leverage private finance for developing countries at reasonable costs.
The UNSG's advocacy for small developing countries came on the heels of his recent visit to Jamaica, where he engaged with Prime Minister Andrew Holness on matters advocated to the G7. At the summit, the President of Brazil, His Excellency Lula da Silva, called for action in the face of the crisis in Haiti. He told his counterparts, "In Haiti, we need to act quickly to alleviate the suffering of a population torn apart by tragedy. The scourge to which the Haitian people is subject is the result of decades of indifference to the country's real needs. Winner of the logo competition for CARICOM's 50th anniversary celebrations, Andre Bartley, received his prize from Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett on the sidelines of the recent meeting of foreign ministers in Jamaica. The Jamaican national designed a logo that symbolized CARICOM member states journeying through the 50 years together. We end our broadcast this week by showing you images of the outpouring of sympathy and support in the aftermath of the fire in Madhya. Thank you for watching this broadcast of the CARICOM NewsTime. Log on to the CARICOM news site at today.caricom.org or the CARICOM website at caricom.org for daily updates on what is happening in the Caribbean community. Also, check out our social media spaces on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram for up-to-the-minute updates.